Hi everyone, this is David Apple with Flycast Partners, and we're looks like we're going to get started here. I see a few more people still joining the call here, but I'll be taking you through the slide deck here. We're going to be talking today about right sizing your ITSM solution using strategic approaches. Now, this is a topic we covered last year, had a lot of interest. It caused a lot of conversations, and is probably one of the number one reasons a lot of our clients end up coming to us here at Flycast is to actually look at and evaluate what tool they have. Does it work in what they're utilizing? And if there is a need for a change, how do you go about doing that? So on the call today, I want to introduce everybody to Bobby McCullough. And Bobby is an IT analyst here at Flycast Partners. He has over 25 years of experience in IT areas, really specializing in IT service management, asset management, and he's also been on the side where he's had a lot to do with the financial IT asset management with different organizations. He's spent many years managing different large enterprise implementations in all types of verticals, healthcare, large financial institutions, telecom, different state and local government agencies, as well as some federal agencies as well. And I'm looking at the different signups we have on the group today. Many of you are in healthcare. I see people in different financial sectors or working for banks and government agencies as well, some in higher education. And we just want to point out, Bobby is probably seen it all. He shared probably a lot of the same experiences that are individual nuances in those different verticals and industries, but he's also seen the holistic approach and how well these ITIL processes and these best practices, can be put in place. Bobby, you've been with us. God, it's probably going on almost 5 years now. But with what Bobby's done with us here at Flycast is he helps align our clients based on their IT strategy, their business goals, and their technical needs, and helps align them with the different possible software solutions that fit those needs. And Bobby is talking to us today from the Nashville, Tennessee area. He's a huge Tennessee Volunteers fan. Calls good old Rocky Top his home sweet home. So Bobby, thanks for joining us and taking us through this presentation today.
Thank you, David, and go Big Orange. So wanted to start out with sort of setting the stage for right sizing a purchase. We're really talking about right sizing your purchase for an ITSM solution. But to talk about that, let's look at it from the perspective of buying a house. That's one of the largest purchases a family is going to make in their lifetime. It's not just a purchase; it's an investment. So you're looking at some return on that investment, but you've also got to be focused on your outlay. What you're able to afford going into it. And so to compare this, let's think of maybe two families. One is maybe a single parent family with a child. The other one is a two-parent family with a couple of children, pets, and farm animals. And what do you need to look at when you're purchasing your house? What's important when you're trying to make those decisions? I jumped ahead a little bit. So let's think about the first family here. Very small, no pets. Is there a need for a garage? There's probably not a need for a barn. What does this family need to get started? If they buy too much house, what's going to happen? Well, first off, there's higher outlay. There's a higher initial cost. The ongoing mortgage is more expensive than it would be otherwise. your maintenance costs are higher. And those costs are all around unused space. Maybe there are features in the house that really aren't being used. The house isn't being used to its full capacity. So there's some real issues there with overbuying from a cost perspective. Let's look at it from the other side. What happens if the large family with several animals buys too small of a home? Well, obviously the cost it is not an issue for them. They got it at a lower cost, but likely they don't have enough space. People are going to be crowded in the house. Maybe there's not enough features. They're having to uh, uh, have a small pen in a small yard for the pets or the animals rather than a barn and some place for them to roam. And last but not least, maybe there's not enough bathrooms in that small house for that larger family. So there are impacts on both sides of this spectrum, depending on how that choice goes. So so how do you right size from the start? Well, uh, if you're not happy with your initial purchase, it's likely that you're going to make another purchase at some point that's going to satisfy your needs. And so the way you avoid that is by taking into account all of these factors in coming up with your decision, understanding how the house is going to be used, how it's going to be used in the future. uh, the family may be small now, but they're planning on lots of kids down the line, or maybe they're planning on having a llama farm. So you're going to have to plan for those things and allow for that, future growth that you might expect, or future contraction. When like my kids are about to go off to college, when the needs inside the house, the footprint that's required, maybe gets a little bit smaller. So which group do you fall into? Did you underbuy? Are you like the second family uh, in our in our example? The cost wasn't an issue, but now once you're there, you're kind of crammed into a small place. Did you overbuy? Which is really just as bad as underbuying. Uh, Overbuying causes the extra layout, those all those additional costs. Or are you in the category where you just don't know? We've got lots of customers. we in our invite for this meeting, we asked you guys, where you felt that you fell in here, and as we expected, it was pretty even across the responses. And that's really what we hear when we're out in the field and talking to customers. So when you're uh, when you're examining the ITSM tool, you've got to look at soft costs, hard costs, and opportunity costs. Soft costs are um, extra maintenance, or sort of an unrealized cost that's available that comes along with the tool. Maybe your staff needs additional training to be able to use the tool. Maybe the tool might be difficult, and so it causes time costs anytime someone tries to come in and administer the tool. So you've got those costs to think about. You've got your hard costs. What's that upfront cost? What's that annual maintenance going down the road? You don't want to be paying that maintenance when you're not getting the full value out of your tool. That really makes an unhappy customer when you're in that position. And opportunity costs. What else could you have done? There's costs that uh, if you bought too small, you don't have features, functions that you expect or would have liked to have had that allow you to either provide some service through your IT department, or some activity to engage your customers, increase their satisfaction. Not having the ability to do that, that generates opportunity costs. This is a lot like, to use another analogy, a pickup truck. I have we have a family camper that we take camping from time to time. I can't tow that with a small 4-cylinder car. It takes a bigger vehicle to tow that. So I have to have that truck. But with that truck, there's additional costs. There's hard costs associated with it. It's a little more expensive than a car up front. Now, the ongoing costs are probably relatively the same. I'm a cheap guy, so it's not 4-wheel drive. I won't make that mistake next time. Um, but but for the most part, maintenance costs on that truck are going to be the same. What happens though when I go to the grocery store? Well, the parking spots at Kroger's are a little small. They're a little tight. I generally park a little bit farther out. And so there's some opportunity costs. Now, that's probably good, making me walk into the grocery store. Uh, but that vehicle is best purposed for towing my camper. Um, a smaller vehicle is better suited for those grocery store runs. Not only is that smaller vehicle cheaper up front, the gas costs getting to the grocery store are a little bit cheaper. And also, like I said, I don't have to park as far out. It's easier to get in a parking spot. So these are all the type of things that you have to think about when you're thinking about purchasing an ITSM system. What is that initial outlay? Obviously, you have to be able to afford it, but justifying that initial outlay is going to require aligning your issues, your what's going on in your environment with the solution and how it can solve those issues. So you have to make sure that that initial outlay is obviously something that can be afforded, but it also is going to cover what what is going to help you to solve your issues. Next, ongoing maintenance. That's the ongoing cost associated with that. That's the gas in the pickup truck. So you've got to think about those ongoing maintenance costs uh, to to keep that system going. That all becomes a part of the total cost of that solution, and incorporating into that the time that you spend learning it and that you spend managing within that solution. That time is also cost associated with that as well. And then the opportunity cost for something else you could have done. All of those work into the total cost of ownership. And you want to make sure that uh, it's sort of like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It needs to be not too hot and not too cold. It needs to be just right so that you can hit that total cost of ownership.
Yeah, and Bobby, I love how you kind of lay out the different areas that get you to that total cost of ownership. And one thing I'd like to do is take that one step further, is to say, okay, great, we're understanding the total cost of owning a solution, of what it takes to bring it in house and to start working on that and implementing those things. But then you still have to say, well, we understand how much it costs. How much value does it bring? And that's
Yeah.
where you're going to have to answer to to the financial office of, hey, what is our return on investment on this solution? And I can guarantee you that most of the people on the call today, you're probably, you have some type of ticketing system in place. You're running through where you're tracking incidents, and you're doing some level of service management. Maybe not to a very high level, or you are doing it at a very high level. And I think that's the baseline now. We've kind of surpassed the only putting out fires mentality. Where we see our clients getting the most return on their investment is when you can start adding as much automation that makes sense. Some organizations, and if you're in the overbought category, you've probably come in and tried to do too many features, things that just didn't make sense, and automation didn't necessarily work when it became more cumbersome to create that's that automation and not really get that true return on investment that you thought you would. And I know, Bobby, you've prepared to take the group through not only some areas of automation that we see you can easily manage and create great workflows to get that good return on investment, but also the ability to start empowering the end users to self-help, to get the information they need, the services they need in a timely manner, and then reduce that cost, that total cost of ownership onto the service desk.
Exactly right, David. Uh, I've been in the industry, like you said, for 25 years now, and that whole time I've been talking about something I call the Amazon experience. Your end user customers have been using Amazon for years now, and they're accustomed to a certain experience that they have. Their expectations are set, their questions are answered, um, uh, and that they're able to easily uh, place an order for something. Amazon doesn't have to call you to get the size and the color and those type of things. Everything is taken care of. Um, that's really key to right sizing your IT. That your while your ticket load may overall be fairly consistent, there are times of the year or times of the day when that load can increase, and especially if your organization, if your organization is going through some mergers and acquisitions, uh, you can have a real issue with being able to scale within your organization. So that's really what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the options that are available in our Freshservice product that really allow you to scale and automate your environment. Doing those things really makes it easy for you to handle the ups and downs with that ticket load. And so the first thing here is our chatbot. The chatbot is where you can come in and interface with for lack of a better term, a robot. I can't log into my email. And so right away, the chatbot can suggest a knowledge article to me. Uh, Here, it takes me to a link that shows me how to reset my Outlook password. Takes me right there to do that. So very easy for your customers to get answers to questions. Very easy for you to get feedback on those responses and understand what's going on out here in the portal. The main thing is that it lets customers get answers to questions without bothering you. They can come in and help themselves. They can come in and look at the status of their tickets. So here, maybe I want to look at my unresolved tickets, and I can click one of those and pull it up to get a view of that ticket. So great way to begin that scaling, to begin that self-service type portal. In addition to maybe asking questions or reviewing the tickets that I've submitted, you also have access to a service catalog. And think of a service catalog item as a form to capture all the information up front. It includes everything your customer needs to make their decision. And then it has all the information that you need to capture what's needed for that request, so you don't have back and forth with that customer. Very easy for me so I'm an important guy. I need a monitor and a mouse, and so I'm going to place that request. Now there's a ticket in the system. We can use some of the automation that I'm going to show you in just a second to notify team members, hey, you've got someone looking for a MacBook. Maybe to notify the customer, hey, we got your ticket. Maybe you've got an approver and we need to notify that approver. We can do that as well in here. That's all part of the automation I'm going to show you in just a second. But again, this portal provides an easily scalable point of entry for your end users. And so when things get busy, they can easily come here and not only get the answers to their questions, but they can check the status of their tickets, check their approvals if they have any, or access the service catalog as well right there from the portal. Now, this is sort of a way to scale sort of on the first level, you know, on how we're going to interact with our customers. Having this chatbot really makes that part easy. The other part is our automation. And so behind the scenes, this is our Freshwork workflow automator. And so I'm going to go down and look at one of our workflows here. So this is a simple workflow that looks to see when a ticket is created. And if the category is hardware, it assigns it automatically to that team, software to that team, and so on. But there is a ton that we can do with this automator. I can drag another action out here. You can see you can set the value on fields on the ticket. I'm also able to add notes or tags. Tags are how we can search for sort of an ad hoc search through the system for everything that is related maybe to Apple desktops or something. Maybe CC someone on an email. You can add watchers where you might have members of your staff, managers, or someone that needs to keep an eye on a ticket while others are working on their tasks. You can add those watchers. You can add tasks. You can kick out to a webhook. So we have the ability through the open API and the out-of-the-box connectors that are available through the marketplace to connect the Freshservice solution with other third-party solutions that you might have. And through this automator, trigger the webhook so that we can either push data over to that system or maybe pull something back from it to populate in our system. Maybe you need to assign it. And so this is one of the ways that you can go through an automator, and maybe the ticket initially is assigned to me, so I can do some prep work. And then once I'm done, it's automatically assigned to you. So you can come in and do your work. We can add that into the workflow so that as work is performed, people are notified as they are needed. Speaking of notifications, all of those emails that you might need to send out, we can manage those as well. These are neat, send an email to, so I can quickly pull in the customer or add other I can add any of these groups here into the ticket. Placeholders in the body of the email. So as I type the email, maybe I want to pull in the ticket ID and so on. So what this is doing, Freshservice is making it easy for you to govern your processes, but also making it easy for you to automate your processes, because there's so much that we're able to do here with these actions. Deleting a ticket, removing a tag. Maybe if you've got an integration with another system and you're trying to pull JIRA information over, we're able to access those as well from these actions. So a lot that you can do here to automate these. The neat thing about these is these happen automatically. They're behind the scenes, just waiting to run, and they're looking for a particular event to occur. And the event can be related to a ticket specific to an incident or a request, maybe when an item is added or a field is. But you can look at the values for all of these objects, all of these fields on the record to determine when this workflow is going to kick off. It doesn't need any input from an end user. It just happens automatically, and behind the scenes governs and automates what's going on with your workflow. Now, this is an automatic way to perform those type of actions. We've also got scenario automations, which these are really workflow automators that don't have a trigger. you triggered those manually. And so again, it's just a further way for you to uh, automate your environment and make it easy for your users to respond when they need to respond. Speaking of those responding, Freshservice has a feature called canned responses, and these are really neat, where you can create just a simple email. Here I pulled in the ticket ID, but I'm attaching to it a knowledge article, a resolution document for how to resolve an issue with Outlook error 500. And from within a ticket, I have the ability to come in and uh, grab one of those responses. I can reply, insert a canned response, and there's my insert. Here, I didn't want this. This came across automatically. Now I can send that. Now I can see that that history is stored here. That's helpful. But here in my inbox, oh, that's my ticket received. I grabbed the wrong one. The inbox is going to look like this email right here, and it explains it's related to my ticket. I've got the document right here in the attachment. Pull that document right up and access that type of information. So how are the three ways that we're uh, helping an organization scale through Freshservice? First off, the chatbot portal really allows your organization to respond to varying ticket loads, ticket traffic, and email and phone volume as well, because they can come in and find out about their tickets and get their questions answered as well. And then our other methods that we've discussed today are automation related to our workflow automator, where we can kick off governance and automation automatically from a trigger. Scenario automations, where we can do the same thing from an ad hoc selection. And then finally, those canned responses. David, that was my plan today for the demo.
Oh no, that was perfect, Bobby. And yeah, I appreciate what you took us through there. And I think the key takeaways, being on less on the technical side, was you know all of that made sense to me, right? You were able to do a lot. It is very powerful. You're able to configure that within the solution, and that's what makes it scalable to where you can start seeing immediate returns when you're able to streamline some processes, um, in a very simple way. But then the scalability, like you mentioned, going into other third-party tools that you're using through other parts of your organization, pulling that data together, you're able to connect it all, and so you can be very scalable. And it's really, if you can think it, you can do it, in these areas.
Exactly right. That's I like that. I'm going to use that.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate the demo there, and it was something a little bit new compared to what we showed last year. Some real examples within a solution. So where does our audience go from here? And here's a few helpful tips that are areas we help with, but also what we hear from our clients are useful when they're going through the process. And I like to start by saying, do your high level general research, from industry leaders in the IT space, organizations like Gartner, G2, which is more peer reviews, which are great to have, Forrester. They're all great sources. Not everybody subscribes and to Gartner or consultants through these different means, there's a lot of free information out there from these organizations. So if you're not engaging with somebody like Forrester or Gartner directly, there's a lot of white papers, industry papers that they put out that give high level overviews of these solutions. And once you've taken a look at those, you really need to then start looking internally, define your processes, define your goals, your IT strategy. What Bobby mentioned earlier is, you know, don't just buy the house for what you need today. If you're looking to grow a family, or you're looking to, really get into farming and have a garden and have a lot more, you're going to need to have that vision of buying, for year 2 and 3 and year 4 of your strategy. But you also want to make sure that you're going to be able to be flexible, because things happen, things change in life, things change in business, right? We went through a pandemic recently where we had a lot of organizations coming to us saying, "Look, we don't need as much as we have. We had to temporarily downsize, but we still needed to deliver that same flexibility and service to our end users, or maybe even more so than in the past." Um, if you don't have the internal resources to really look at your processes, find a partner who can help. That's one. There's organizations out there that will help build your ITIL processes, look at what you're currently doing. That's something we do here at Flycast as well. And some organizations come to us and say, "Look, we want to start from scratch. Take us through a journey. Tell us what we can do." And we have the experience, because we not only have the experts, but we're engaging and we're seeing the best practices that other organizations are doing and the benefits they receive from these processes. So, if you don't have the internal resources, find a partner who can either help build those out, or at least provide guidance, right, to put you on the right track. Once you've defined your needs, your processes, your goals, narrow down a short list of options. You don't necessarily need to look at every possible item on the menu to determine what you're going to eat. You can really take those industry looks and narrow down who are the major players, and make sure you include your current solution. There might be a chance that you don't need to replace your home. You might just need to add an addition, or put in a 2-car garage, because you're gonna start getting into and be like Bobby, and make sure you have a camper, a truck, and a small size vehicle for all situations. So that's areas we can help as well. We've had a lot of clients that came to us thinking they need to abandon what they have and what they've invested in. The reality is they just didn't have the resources or all of the know-how how to manipulate that solution to meet what they actually wanted to accomplish. Other times, it does make sense to tear down the home, or go build a new one, uh, because you really can't salvage, the previous infrastructure or the foundation that was laid out, or it's that far outdated. There's no going back. The final piece, and whether it's with Flycast partners or other partners out there, I really do believe organizations should leverage the partner network of the solutions they're evaluating. And there's to me 2 types of resellers. There's resellers that resell product, and to me those are more procurement vehicles, and there's nothing wrong with those organizations. But there's another term, and not everyone's familiar with it: a value-added reseller, a VAR. Uh, Flycast partners, we're a value-added reseller to several different IT software organizations, and the value add is that piece. The name's there for a reason. We have the expertise on not only how the solutions work and operate, but the amount of services to deploy those, how to get them implemented, the cost of the ongoing maintenance. Um, so I definitely would encourage, when you have narrowed down to a few software companies that you would like to look at and feel might be a fit, Leverage the partner network. It's a very different view that those partners can give you. Now, I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about how Flycast might differ from other value-added resellers that you would come across, and why I do believe we are not just a option, but a great option that can help save you time and money through the process. First off, we last year had our 10-year anniversary, so it was a very fun year. We got to come out with a new logo, and we had a lot of company excitement around that. But through those 10, oh,
There was some
sorry, go ahead.
wine involved. There was wine involved, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that we got to find out which states allow you to ship wine to all of our employees and which didn't. But for the most part, yeah, that was a great teaming event when we can't all meet in person, which we are looking forward to next year having an all hands meeting and getting everybody back together in person again. So that was a lot of fun. So through 10 plus years, we have the experience. We've built up and are very fortunate to have worked with over 1,600 companies in North America, which is pretty substantial for being a basically a value-added reseller and consulting company. We come across a lot of organizations, and we've helped them not only with their implementation, but the ongoing services. We've done over 5,600 service engagements spread out through our great consulting team, which is the backbone of our organization. And the next piece here, I think, is what really separates us from other resellers and other organizations that you might come across is we do have the consultants, the analysts, and the experts that span right now over 7 different ITSM solutions, and some are really geared well for mid-market, the smaller market organizations, and then others are great into that to that medium space or emerging enterprise, as well as servicing some of the largest companies in North America that we do. So we represent multiple software vendors, and we're not saying we would show you 7 different solutions day one, but we have a methodology a method to our madness. When we come in, we talk to our clients, we understand your needs, and typically it narrows down to maybe 1 or 2 solutions, maybe 3 that could be a good fit, and we present those options, and we have the expertise to know truly the differences between many of those. In our service engagement, our methodology, we have project managers that oversee the ITSM consultants in those solutions for the implementation. We have a very robust methodology, a proven methodology that we utilize and constantly provide success to ourselves and to our clients. And Bobby, this is something that you've seen prior to Flycast in your many years of helping implement these types of projects, and then you see how we deploy it here at Flycast.
Yeah, this is an important slide, guys. This is our approach. We call it our strategic approach to implementing your software of choice. And it starts out with researching, analyzing, and understanding what your issues are, and that really starts with me and Kyle with the pre-sales team, with understanding your issues, understanding the prioritization of those issues, and what solutions may actually be available to respond to those issues. Once our implementation team, though, understands what's going on in your environment, we're going to conduct interactive design workshops with your stakeholders and staff so that they're a part of that design. This is Bobby's term. This is not an official Flycast term, but we like to feed you some fish, but we also want to teach you how to fish. So we're going to get you going and have you with a usable system once we get through our approach. but the idea is to show you how we got there so that you can manage that going forward. We're going to help you with project requirements, budget, timeline, scope, desired state. So we have project managers to help manage that and govern that during the process. Supervise all stages of the building and design, so that that is controlled and governed through the process, and then you understand what's going on during that. Provide formal solution instructions. And so something David mentioned earlier was, finding a partner that's going to help you define your processes. Defining your processes really a two-stage effort. So, we're going to talk about your processes before the sale. If we're lucky enough to win your business, those processes are going to come up again here in the design workshops. But then we're going to document them once we've gone through the build. We're going to document them and distribute those to the team, so you've got formal documentation of instructions on how to utilize the tool. And then we move to enabling organizations. So especially if your service desk solution is going to incorporate maybe some HR or facilities groups, we want to bring those groups in and start looking toward our deployment of that solution for your organization. And then finally, we get to the end where we meet your objectives for both a design and a response standpoint through our governance of the process and the process itself.
Thank you, Bobby. And that, meeting the objectives, that tends to be, phase one, right? And our goal is to enable our clients to be self-sufficient. But in many cases, we do come back when there's additional projects that we provide that expertise in. And you mentioned bringing in, HR, employee onboarding, offboarding, leveraging other departments of the organization into the service management plan, or exploring other softwares to integrate with and do that as well. So this is a proven methodology. Not everybody on this call, your business is unique that you have, and we're here to be flexible and really identify and discover how we can help first before we go down this path. So I definitely wanted to thank you, Bobby, for also preparing a demonstration for us, for showing the group here, and really the goal was to get everybody mind thinking outside the box just a little bit. And I know a lot of what we covered is probably something that's not new to most people on the call today, but hopefully we were able to put it in a way that gets you to think a little bit different than you were before the call. We are here to help. If you have questions, we have a great group of people, Bobby and some of his peers included, that are able to just come in, listen, and we'll provide, some guidance, expertise. And if it ends up being something that turns into something more we can help with, we'd love to be part of that. So again, we posted some information here at the end, but simply go to our website or info@flycastpartners.com, send us a note, and we'll reach out and have a discussion. So I want to thank everybody for giving us their time today. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, David.